I'm not really going to dive into all of it. We are a nonprofit organization. These are the programs that we do, but I feel like the presentation that I have to share with you today is really, if y'all will just circulate these, is really going to share that more than I possibly could with my words, because if you were here yesterday or at the ranch yesterday, we're talking about, our word pointers. Our words can only point to a truth. And it's like a finger pointing to the moon. There's an old Buddhist saying that says the finger points to the moon, and do not get so distracted that all you're doing is looking at the finger that you miss the moon, right? Oh, I love that. So I feel like this presentation, you're going to have live video. Let me go to the next slide. This is about how saying yes to the horse's no builds trust. And this is a case study with 3 wild Mustangs that are a part of our sanctuary. They have a forever home with us. And I will say it's the best that I can create as far as keeping the variables the same. I mean, I'm the human that's worked with each of these horses. However, this started in 2019, and I have grown and learned from each horse. So they've built me into a new human. So my person has changed. So I can't say that there's not, multiple variables going on. This is definitely more of a qualitative kind of feel to this, but this is my heart. This is, I'm just so excited to share. And I want to start with just sharing a very short little story of when I showed my husband what my title was, how saying yes to the horse's no builds trust, and he said, I don't get it. He said, I just don't get what you're trying to say, okay? I just don't get it. And I thought, at first my heart took off racing because oh my gosh, this is my title, But then after I kind of came down a bit, I said, okay, I'm going to put this in perspective. All right, imagine you're the wild horse, talking to my husband. Imagine you're the wild horse, and I am telling you that we need a new shelter for the sanctuary horses, and you need to build it right now, and I don't even care what else you have going on. It doesn't matter to me what projects you're in the middle of. I don't care if you've got the entire truck ripped apart from the inside out that we need to take across the country in 2 weeks to go pick up another wild horse. You got to drop it right now and build this shelter. How would that feel to you? You'd probably give me a pretty hard, swelled up no to that, right? And I'm prepared to continue this analogy with our nice little flow chart that I made by hand, not artificial intelligence. Thank you very much. And then he says, oh, okay, I got it. He said, okay, this is like when we have a sink full of dishes, and I would really love just a little bit of help. I'm going to tell you guys, my husband is amazingly domestic. I am so blessed.
Did you train him, or did he come that way?
He came that way. His mama, she's amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So he's telling me that, okay, so he's telling me the story, and he has very quickly turned the tables on me, and now I'm the wild horse, right? And he's saying, and I know good and well that if I walked out to the arena where you are with the wild horse doing something that, of course, is very important to you, and said, I just really need some help with these dishes, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I would come striking and biting and charging, and don't be talking to me about any dishes because for me, I'm not doing that because I don't care about how he feels. I'm doing that because I'm reacting from how I feel. And how I feel is I wash a dish when I need a dish. It just doesn't, why do we have to have all why do we have to have them clean all the time? We're not even eating out of them. But this horse is right here in this space. She needs me now. This is what I want. This is priority, right? So for me, this is my truth, and I see no problem with it, right? So now I take him through my flow chart, right? And he's listening, and he's amazing. And I'm saying, okay, so this is the wild horse's no, or the wife's no, is heck no, I'm not washing those dishes. So we have to first identify what that no is, not washing the dishes. Then we have to honor it. So now this is my husband's job. He has to honor the fact that I don't want to wash the dishes. And to honor that means it does not matter what he thinks. It doesn't matter how he feels in that moment. Because to truly honor someone else, we are just honoring someone else, right? It's not even about him right now. So he has to totally honor my perspective and only my perspective in that moment in time. This isn't saying that he doesn't also deserve to be honored. It just says if he wants to do anything to shift the experience of the household with the wife, then he's going to need to follow this flow chart, right? Because she operates like a wild horse. So now we honor the no. Now we got to figure out how to say yes, okay? So I'm going into the next stage of the flow chart with my husband, and he pauses me, and he says, okay, whoa. He said, actually, I got to say something. He said, if you all of a sudden dropped everything you were doing, washed every dish in the house, in the sink, and the sink was completely clean, and you did it because you were afraid of me getting upset, I would feel horrible. And I completely melted into a puddle. And I could have washed every dish in that moment. And I thought, and I said, that's it. That's it. Because this is how we all feel about the horse. We don't want him to do it because we made him do it. We don't. We don't want to force them into it. We don't want them to be the broken. I mean, who cares if the house is clean, if the person that's cleaning it is miserable? Who cares if we're getting toted around and packed around and my heels are down and my shoulders are back and my chin is up and, rise and fall with a leg on the wall, and yet they're miserable. And not that they all are, though. I think that's where it gets really tricky, is it's like, how could we possibly develop a relationship with someone that actually wants to carry us around? So then there's this argument of, well, yeah, that all sounds great, but then how do you marry the two? So then we come back to the analogy with the horse. So I'll leave my wild wife story for a moment and come to the horse. And, oh God, I hope I can get through all this in the time we have. I want to do a very short breathing exercise. It can be 1 minute, but this to me is the best model for how I perceive the horse's no moving to a yes. Because I think we could all say that no and yes are polars. Black and white's polars. Little, big, short, tall, okay? But how do we get from one to the other? My daughter came like 36 weeks. She was tiny. Her head's up here now. It didn't just boom. There was an in-between. So where is that in-between, right? So do this exercise with me. This will be good for me. So I'm going to tell you how to do it, and then I'm going to turn you loose to do it, because if I guide it, I'm going to mess you up. I'm going to want you to just simply breathe. But do not hold your breath. I want you to just breathe, and I want you to observe. Imagine you're a little fairy that's just riding on the waves of your breath, and you're going to ride that wave in, and you're going to ride it out. And I want you to observe what happens as you ride it in, as you ride it out. Can anyone tell me the moment that you went in to out? Was it one moment? You feel a moment? Do it again with me. In, out. Now I want you to if you felt a moment, I want you to take yourself into that moment, and I want you to be just inside of that moment. It's imagine you put a little dot on a piece of paper, a little pencil mark, and now we're going to enlarge the pencil mark. We're inside of the little dot of the pencil mark. So we're going to breathe in. The breath is going to turn, and it goes out. Does it come in and stop and then turn around? If you hold your breath, maybe, get inside that pencil mark and you'll feel it turn. It's subtle. It's within a very small, short place, but it turns. It doesn't go here and then disappear, and now I'm here. It goes, it fills our whole body, it touches all of our cells, and then it goes out. There is a turn, okay? That is the maybe space. Imagine the in-breath is your no. Hopefully this is going to make sense as we go through these videos. Your in-breath is the no. The out-breath is the yes. The turn of the breath is the maybe space. It's really important because growth only is going to happen in the maybe space. My child does not get from a just a little bit bigger than premature infant to a 15-year-old child woman that's driving a car without a lot of in-between. And a horse doesn't go from knowing nothing about a human or knowing horrible things about a human to then trusting a human without a lot of maybe space in between. And that maybe space, holding space for the maybe, is the most important thing about this whole deal. Okay? All right, so without further ado, horses. We have 3 wild horses that we're featuring. I am going to do a Zoom where we're going to dive into each one of these in a full hour. I have 45 minutes today, so I've had to condense, but I cannot help but share with you each one of them. We're going to start with Kali, who was here yesterday at the and met Magic. Kali is Magic's full sister. And I know that because of their herd management area, their pintos, their markings, and the wild horse photographers that followed them, and they were in a very closed herd when she was born. So Kali, and I told you, those that did not meet Magic yesterday, she's another one of our Mustang partners. Both of these horses, not the little baby, this is Kali's baby, but this incredible mare, and Magic, that is another Mustang partner. Both of their mother, same mother, her name's Izza, and the story with Izza, the wild horse photographers, when they first met her, they're out on the prairie, right? They're taking pictures of the wild herd. They're crouching behind the trees, far, far away, big zoom lens. This giant bay pinto comes charging them, clearing the space. They're like, that has to be the stallion. No, turns out it was the lead mare, Izza, who's the mama of Magic and Kali. Now, I told you how, Magic, when she came to me, she was flipping me the birdie in any way a horse can. I did not know what it meant to truly get the middle finger until I met her sister. Okay, her sister was in the wild until she was 7 years old. And like I said, that mother was an almighty, I'm going to keep you tucked under my wing. You are protected. And she stayed with her mother. Because of the photographers, we know this. Kali stayed with her mother for her entire time in the wild. They were taken by stallions from herd to herd and moved different places. They always stayed together. They were even rounded up by the BLM, freeze branded, PZP'd, put back out in the wild together, then gathered again together. Kali, so the second time they were gathered, Izza, the mother, was turned back in the wild, and she was put up for adoption. Kali had a baby beside her and in her tummy when she was gathered the second time. We were following and immediately said we would adopt them. So we adopted them, took them to the sanctuary. But you can imagine, this horse was pissed. And so she comes home, her baby as well. Her baby did not hold nearly the resentment her mother did. And my relationship with her really began this concept. Any time that I had dropped into a place of really feel with horses, I was in this space, but she forced me, I had to pay attention. So the horses know. Okay, so Kali would charge me, would basically try to attack me. I had plenty of horses get chargy. It is not uncommon for a wild horse, especially a mare, to be chargy. She would not let me in the pen. She was like, and it was so much so that if I would kind of shift my energy to her, you think about very subtle pressure and release, you're like, soon as she felt me think about it, she swelled up to me. And I could feel, okay, so her no is, what do you think? A big no. Don't tell me what to do. You are not telling me what to do. It wasn't really touch. It wasn't really the halter. It wasn't things. It do not tell me what to do. That was her no. So, exactly. Exactly. So now I have to, so identify that no, honor it. It does not matter my timeline. It does not matter that she has feet of an Oregon Mustang, which are really difficult to self-trim, by the way, unless you have a heck of a lot of rocks. I mean, they're like this big and a hoof wall, like your nippers are dead after trimming them one time. Does not matter. Okay, I have to completely abandon everything in my mind that I'm struggling to hang on to. Honor that no. Then I got to figure out how to say yes. And she was really tricky because I would think the way that I would first think to say yes, which is a way to say yes, is giving them space, which is a huge way. But think about Kali. The place that I light up her no is when I direct myself to her, even in the subtlest of ways. If I then give her space, I'm teaching her something that really is going to be a difficult thing. I'm going to teach her something that is going to be a giant hole for the both of us. It's going to be hard for either of us to dig our way out of, right? I'm going to teach her to charge me. I'm going to teach her that she has all the power that she pretty much already knows she has, right? But that's the key, the power. The power. That gets down. She had to have the power. How can I give her the power without giving it to her in a way that she's just running over me? That's what I had to figure out. So for Kali, pure, not just positive reinforcement, but I'm talking about that alternate, I call it like an alternate reality, alternate universe, pure positive reinforcement for Kali. And if any of you are familiar with positive reinforcement, we can use it many ways, but with her at this stage, I had to go completely away from pressure because pressure was her trigger. We had to develop a relationship where she had power because power was what she needed to be able to feel safe enough to even be able to see me, in a new way. So we went to protected contact, which is literally, I don't go in the same space with her. We keep a giant solid metal fence between us. And we go to positive reinforcement using food rewards, where I use a bridge signal, which is really nothing but association. I make a noise, something good comes. So she starts to associate the noise with something. So we built that over time in a way that she didn't feel was scary. That's very tricky. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff I can't tell you right now because of the length of time, but I want to jump to the stuff I really want to share. So I'm going to bring you up to the video I'm going to show you. So I had already done a tremendous amount of positive reinforcement with her up until this point, taught her to halter with it over. I would climb up on the fence, put my hand like this, and she would come put her forehead in my hand, and I'd click treat. Could not feed her food. She wouldn't take it from my hand. I had to dump it in a pan and push it underneath, and she would dive bomb to it like a shark, but she'd go do the thing. She'd be like, head in my hand, and then, it looked very disconnected and not, it didn't look pretty, but at least she was in power. She was in control. We were making progress. She was not trying to charge me. We were moving in the right direction. Then, at this point of this video was when I introduced pressure for the first time, a little bit in what some might call tactile touch, where I'm just tapping, but I would call it a little more than that because I was tapping enough. My intention was pressure release, so that's different than the intention of tactile touch with positive reinforcement. That's what makes it different. So, and that's what okay, one more thing I want to point out, because I just want to let the video play. It's only like a minute and a half, but I'm not going to talk on top of it. Another thing I want you to notice, the maybe space, okay? So we know her hard no is ears pinned, kicking out, charging, biting, all these very obvious no's. So her maybe space, 3 really key things. One of them is leaving. Leaving and making a circle for Kali is actually a step towards maybe from the no. Right? Because, y'all get that, okay? So you'll see her make this circle, and it looks like she's disconnecting, but that's her maybe space. Another one is that Fleming response, which is so fascinating to me. And this was consistent throughout our relationship. Every time we reached a new kind of wall, and that she actually was starting to move through it. Now, if she was in that hard no, she never did it. But when she was getting in this in-between, and she did it like compulsively. And that's a whole thing. Horses actually take molecules that are larger than we can breathe, and when they flip that nose up, they're crushing those molecules into a size that they can take in, and they're taking in this ancient information like Dr. Peters was talking about. Not even really thinking space, but this ancient stuff that she's somehow taking in. So that's a maybe for her. And there was a third maybe I wanted to point out, and I can't think of what it is. So I'm going to show her video. So next, oh, I should have gone to here. No, that's her in the wild. I did that. Okay, this is her video. This was 19 years ago. If I had known I was going to put it on a huge screen here, I would have pulled my shirt down or worn a larger shirt. I apologize, but here you go. So... maybe. Fleming, maybe. Pretty pissed.
Did you
Pause, and I click treat here. So I'll tell you just a second. I just want to point this out. There was a pause. That was the other piece I wanted to point out. Pause and see she's eating from that click treat. I had to say yes to the pause to keep her trying, or she would have stopped trying. So here I am tapping again. Another maybe. But see, this time she didn't take off so fast. She thought about it. It was a slower walk away. And lots of licking and chewing, but she licked and chewed the whole time. She never stopped letting stuff through her body. The lick and chew wasn't your definite go-to for her maybe. The pause is thinking. She's like, there you go again. Maybe. See how I'm just continuing. I'm trying to stay same. My job is same. If this is how I'm saying yes. You can do whatever you need to do. If you need to leave, if you need to kick, if you need to charge, that's how I'm saying yes, but I'm not going to stop doing the thing I'm doing. You can make me stop it by leaving, but if you come back to this spot, I'm going to tap again. And she stillness. See the stillness? This is big maybe. Big maybe. Really important that I don't change and then right there I pause, that was a feel thing. See how I stopped? That was actually yes with stopping the tap. See, I stopped the tap because I felt her think about it. Ooh, woohoo! And then see, and do you see how she knew she got it right? She dropped her head. I'd probably just clicked. Okay. Ooh! And then I want to flip to her next. So this is present. Look at her face. Oh. I want to say one more thing about her no, about saying yes to the horse's no that's really important to me. Magic, her sister, says yes, and I ask her heart to heart, and she says yes to when we load up and go places. Not because it's easy for her, not because there aren't times that are stressful, but she says yes. I actually can't even tell you why she says yes, but I feel a wholehearted yes. I asked Kali, because, this is her sister, and I'm like, look at you, and this way, and to be in her space is like, you feel like Superwoman. You are Superwoman when you get to stand in the grace of her, because she never let go of that power, but she said, actually, I really like it on the sanctuary. So she has traveled with me to do clinics, but clinics the heart space is all coherent. She would have been fine. She would have actually loved all of you guys yesterday. That she loves. We do a celebration of the horse-human relationship. That's our annual event for our nonprofit. She loves that space. Equine Affair, where Magic goes with me, where you've got all the other stuff going on. She said, actually, no thank you. And that's okay. That's okay. That's why we're a sanctuary. We take in horses that have had failed adoptions. We take in horses that are lame. We do that too. And the horses that, like this, that we have done everything, and they say, this is what I choose, that is worthy just as much. There's no more so, less than. So that is also a part of saying yes to the horses no. Yeah. Okay, I got to keep going because I want to get through. Okay, Abe, little sweet Abe. Okay, this guy was, adopted him about a year ago, little boy Mustang, 3 years old. I'm like, oh, he's going to be so easy. He's just, he's a gelding. And he was, he came with the open, he was scared. They're all scared at first. Of course, he's a wild horse. But, within days, he's like, you are my BFF. I've been waiting for you. And he had all these weird, knots on his, muscle knots on his body. And he's over here teaching me, showing me where to put my hand for massage. And we are just so connected. He's fine with the halter. He's fine with all the things. And because he was so open and so squishy and so just I didn't feel anything anywhere that was resistant. I do a thing where I'll crack the whip beside him, so they can hear weird noises and know it's not. Oh, he's everything. He's like, yeah, that's fine. Lo and behold, when he heard the sound of a cookie wrapper, different vibration, and I went through a whole rabbit hole of the frequency of and it is true. A cookie wrapper, or think about the whole classic plastic bag, like horses. It is a higher frequency, which horses here, Dr. Peters talked about, and he would be the expert for this, not me. But, I did dive, because it was so out of character for who he felt like he truly was. Like, what is this part of you, And so it's actually a higher frequency, which horses hear better than we do. They hear beyond our range, but even the range that we share, they hear it better. And then the other thing about a cookie wrapper, it's so not natural, because if you slow it down, it's broken up. It's like that, right? And think about what, it would sound like if something you're going through, grass and a, snake or something. It's something that he felt guarded about. And I don't know what experiences he had in holding. They all have their different experiences. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I have to honor where he's at. It can't matter to me that I kind of think this is a little bit silly, it's just a cookie wrapper, and you're obviously so fine about everything else, right? This was so much so that I knew this about him, but I didn't know it about him, okay? And I was in the process of, I just felt like he's just so soft and he's so willing and it felt like there was this part of me that said, if you just knew that when you felt this on your body that it wasn't going to hurt you, you would know it was going to be okay. And there are some times that that's all it takes, and there's some horses that ask for that. And I had a session, I had just helped a friend with her wild horse who was that kind of horse. The horse had gotten scared of her making any movements. She'd been really quiet. And so this horse had needed me to kind of make big movements and then come up and touch them quiet. Big movement, and this horse had melted, and it was amazing. Totally different horse than Abe, okay? I slipped back in with Abe, and I'm like, oh, we know each other, I'm like, oh, this would be a really good time to play with the tarp. When you know better, you do better. When you know better and you don't do better, you break your arm. Because he popped me, just like he should have. And I was just out of range. He popped the tarp, but I was holding it. I was just out of range enough that he just barely landed. And I didn't even get knocked to the, there was not a mark on me. I didn't even know it was broken. I was just like, this feels kind of weird. And then a moment later, I'm like, I'm starting to feel kind of nauseous. I'm like, I had already worked him a little bit more with the tarp, got to end on a good note here, and I'm like, this is kind of, it's broke clean in half. And then apparently when you're 45 years old, it takes you a little longer. So I'm in a long arm cast, armpit to fingertips for over 2 months. Apparently this needed to sink in. So I had time to focus on this whole concept long after I thought I had known what the concept, I never stopped learning. Okay, so explore, implement, how do I say yes? So one of the things is positive reinforcement gets inside of everything I do. One of the things I did is I created this thing where I would make a sound, and when he would just shift his awareness to it, no, across the pen, I would click treat. I'd leave the sound over here. I'd click, and he loved positive. I had to build that slow, but again, this is assuming the horse already knows the concept. And that was really cool because to this day, he'll still see stuff, and he can have a question mark. And if I just make the sound and just wait, he'll shift towards it. I can click treat, and then he jump. You can feel him go to that pathway. And then he's good. And it has worked for, I mean, he's great for the vet. He's great for being, I body clipped him this past fall because I was like, we're going to marry each other right now. We're going to wear blankets every day. And he was at a point where he was ready for that. But he was also at a point where I knew that constant interaction would just be really good for the both of us. But he was great. So there's so many things he's been able to work through from that. But the other thing I have the video of is actually not positive reinforcement, just as important. I love how expressive he is. He always lets things move through his body. He doesn't hold anything, okay? Which is why it was so quick. You go from like he's fine to now he's not fine, and he's like striking like a ninja because it just flies through him. So this video is me taking an object that he thinks is scary. It's a giant plastic bag, and I'm easing it towards his body, and I'm looking for the moment where he starts to say no. And as soon as he starts to say no, I say, I see you. Because that's really what it is when you say yes to the horse's no. You're just saying, I see you. That's all it is. I see you, right? So I see you. And the way I'm saying I see you in this footage is to take it away. And then let him process that and then come right back in. Now this is going to move fast because I'm just showing you one piece. But as I move back in, you're going to see him shift. And then he starts to say, oh, he reaches out. And the thing that we've ultimately done, because he loves toys, because he is a little boy, and what we've ultimately done, I apologize, it's nothing personal. We take things, I've got him a whole pile of baby toys. He has a baby box, and they make the crinkly, it's perfect, because they make the crinkly sound. He's terrible, and so we do the whole thing of here's the noise, click, treat, no, it takes the time it takes. And then once he's there, so the toys that he's become comfortable with are his favorite things. He grabs them, he throws them around, he'll toss them in the air. So, and that play thing that Dr. Peters was talking about, like that has been his saving grace. Okay, so I just want you to see, but then the releases, okay, the very last part of this video, the releases are like so whole body, he almost falls down. And it is so amazing to witness like the way, okay. I like to call this the owl ears. This was a classic for Abe. Owls actually have ears. 10 minutes, God help me. Owls have ears that are like this so that they can pinpoint location better. And he does this every time he hears a noise that scares him. So now, once I knew him, I could recognize that he was getting ready. I didn't know this at first. I'm sure he was doing it, but I just didn't know what I didn't know. And for him, when he does this is his first sign, and you better be ready because these little black feet are powerful. So, okay, so here he goes. So bag comes to, see him rock. So watch his center of mass. Watch him just slightly shift into this left front. Center of mass will show you more about a horse than anything. And that is not true because anything you say is one thing automatically becomes not true. But see that? I just love that subtle. So I'm looking for the edge and go away. Now this is like, I think 30 seconds later, I sped it up. Now he's like, maybe. Now I hold. This is the holding space for the maybe. I didn't leave. You notice how, and then he comes again. See, if I had left in that maybe space, he wouldn't have been able to, and then look, he comes towards it, he releases. There's going to be another set of even more releases I want you to see in just a second. But this is his first set of releases, but he's got more to come. Okay, 30 seconds later, here we are again. Now he's even more ready. He can release while reaching, huge, and then watch his body. That. It's like it comes all the way through him. And now this last part, I thought Magic was going to do this because she does this like clockwork, but yesterday you all were too calm and heart-centered. She never needed to, but watch him. This is my favorite one because all horses will do this. And we so often say, no, don't scratch your leg. You're supposed to be going with me. Don't do it. How many times have we seen a horse do this? Spirit's gate, inside of the knee, heart point 7, meridians, right? It is a release point. It's a stress point. You could look at it one way or the other. Either he's like needing to release, so he kind of activates it, or he's releasing, therefore it's activating. It also has to do with the blood flow moving to different parts, but it's all the same thing. Everything's one thing. So call it meridian, call it parasympathetic. Sympathetic, call it like Abe, because this is, and then this becomes this. Okay, so now Abe and his true self. So he's finally become a 2-year-old. He's turning 5 this year, but he's just now become like a full-blown 2-year-old. And he traveled with Magic to the event yesterday, and he's just had a blast because this is who he is. Okay, I have 9.5 minutes. Okay, the next horse is the horse. Okay. Do you guys see? It's a little hard to see. She has a heart on her third eye. Is that not like out of this world? I kept feeling this golden Palomino, light Palomino Mustang was the next one that was supposed to come. And I kept saying, Mary, you don't ride the color. That's ridiculous. And I'm not even thinking about riding horses these days, but that line is in my head. Like, this is you don't do this. And I was telling this to my friend, and her 3-year-old's there listening and saying, you don't ride the color. And she says, you ride the color, you sit on their hair. I'm like, well, actually, you do ride the color. So anyway, whatever. Like, without a doubt, it was so much that anytime I would see like a load of light Palomino Mustangs I'm like, okay, I'm looking. And not that I need, we always have plenty, but when she came, I knew it was her. So I want to use these last 8 minutes to let you guys see that, okay, I want you to look at this next video. I'm not going to say much about it. This is early in our relationship, which is still early. We just picked her up this past December, so we're like 2 months now. And just see what you think. Okay, so here we are. Okay, any thoughts?
You drew her thought. I thought you were drawing her thought.
I was trying to.
She heard you.
You're so kind. I was so trying to. I was trying so hard. Uh-huh.
I don't know, we're in hypnosis tips tonight.
She looks like she's hypnotic. Like we're in this, and I think, yeah. So where we were at this place, I was, and this isn't fair to just like throw a video up at 5 minutes and it says 6:30 here. And it's to say analyze, because I actually don't like that, because the energy of being there in the present moment is the true space. And I will just go ahead and tell you, this felt eerie. I was like, what's going on? Where are you?
There's a trust being built that
Yes.
I'm not quite sure.
In hindsight, that's what was.
When she paid full attention, when the ear came forward, you gradually lowered as if looking at it. This is okay.
Yeah. Y'all are being so kind. I was trying, yes, I was attempting. I was not like, I'm going to give them the video of what not to do. Like that way, and not even saying that. It's a new relationship. You are not going to know the horse until you build, and relationship takes time. And yes, there are consistencies, and they are all individuals. This little tilt on another horse doesn't mean they're getting ready to strike you the next second, right? So, okay, I'm going to show you the next second. Not the next second of this, but this is when she was moving around in the pen, but it might have been the same day or it might have been the day after. I slow motioned it because it's just like, she said you needed something to get somebody's attention. That's not what she said. That's not why she did that. Okay, so this horse was inside of that horse. Now you can see it when you look, and me too when I look back, but you can also see how there are some horses, and yes, you look back and it's like, well, yeah, oh, she's super stoic, and I did feel that she was stoic. It's the same thing with the ears though, okay? Because you do have to get to that edge. If you're gonna make progress, you have to get to that edge. So I'm like, is this the edge, Sattva? Basically, she ain't telling me where the edge is because I'm already so far in it that like I'm just, but I don't really, so So the no is to intimacy with her. I'm going to get real fast here. The yes is, I got to regroup. I got to change my lesson plan. So I decided with this horse, we're not even doing first touches. Who the heck cares? You can wear your neck tag for the next year. Okay, we're going to take that out of the picture. I'm going to do two things. We're going to make the round pen huge. It actually was already huge, but we're going to make it huger to like 90 foot across. And we're going to do at a distance directing you. So even though she charged and Khalid charged, it was different reasons. She did not mind me directing her body. She actually appreciated it and took comfort in me making sense. But this spatial thing was not okay. So lots of communication. We got so she could turn into the rail, turn towards me, draw a little in. I mean, we did all kinds of like at a distance liberty while she still felt like this. The other thing I did is I introduced food rewards, but not with a bridge signal. I didn't want to get her in her mind. I wanted to get her chewing. Like if I can just get her in her body, then at least I can see where your mind is. So then we go to... This is after that. So we're still not there. But now look at how. So now I'm going to reach into her space. Boom. There she told me where it was. I can pause. You see, now she's telling me. And this is going to replay so you see it again because it's so subtle. But this horse is subtle. We do Wild Horse Teach Me events where people come out and they just share space while I'm doing this. And a friend said, she's like my husband. By the time she says something, she already knows what she's going to say. And that's how she is. 2 minutes later, okay, you're going to see this build. Now she's already, this is all her. I didn't ask for more. She's more. I mean, just look at her eye. She's still not okay, though. See the no? Yep. But then at least I see it and I can say yes to it. But this took a whole month. Oh, look at the shift in the center of mouth. Look at that right foot. Boom, that. If you just pay attention to that, you'll get more clarity than any eye wrinkle, honestly, because some horses are just more wrinkly, like your Percherons, So that center of mass is huge. So again, now I feel like it's okay I'm still in the maybe space. She's not like a pure yes, but I felt like I could come in. Now draw away a little deeper, and look at this. She's like, well, I just come with you then. I mean, this is all honoring that subtlety. Okay, so now then I just wanted to show you kind of a celebration video. These are my daughters. This is Betsy and Iris, the chickens. And then this is literally 2 days later from what you just saw. This isn't a long time in the future. And this is the first time we haltered. So I had done a lot of other stuff with ropes. We've been tossing ropes beside, like lots of prep. But especially, I just really wanted, and she's not this is maybe, she's not so sure right now, but we're in a space where she has, if I had tried to do this on that first day, it would have looked like she would have stood there, but I would have created, something would have popped and blown, and I would have created something really sad that I didn't have to create. So now here, and look how she's chewing because she's eating food, but she's able to eat food. So if she can eat food, then we're in a much better place. So now, again, I'm not doing this with a bridge signal. It's very muddy in the world of positive reinforcement, but the intent is just to keep her fully in her body, and for her, just eating the food helps her do so. So, and then, all right, so then here, because I had to rush, I scheduled these. This is free for anyone. They're going to be Zoom calls. We're going to dive into each horse for like an hour-and-a-half session. I'll share more footage. I'll also share the replays if you can't be there for the Zoom. This is the QR code. It's Patreon. You don't have to pay anything. If you just sign up to be a free member, it will put you, it's basically like a newsletter, and it's so much easier than me trying to keep up with your emails or your phone numbers. Or if you just sign up that way, then when I post these Zooms, you'll be right there and be able to join. And I would love to stay connected. And it's 36 seconds. I did it!